Do you wait for everything to be perfect and lined up straight before you make a choice? How hard are you trying to get everything in your life right? What if jumping in and getting messy is one of the ways to find out what works for you? Discover how being willing to mess up can create the phenomenal life you truly desire. Get ready to quit judging and start embracing all of your messy adventures. Now, here's your host, self-declared messy living expert, Petrina Fava.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Messy Adventures in Living. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is for you. Thanks for being here. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining us today on Messy Adventures in Living. I am Petrina Fava. I'm your host, the host of Messy Adventures in Living. I'm the one that gets to play with this amazing show that is creating all kinds of cool stuff for me in my life, and hopefully for some of yours as well. Yes. So, what is Messy Adventures in Living radio show? What is this all about? Is this your first time here, or are you wondering what it is that my target is for this show? Somebody asked me actually a couple of days ago about my radio show. What do you talk about on your radio show? And I said, it's all about, just jumping in and making choices, and even if it's messy, and it's okay, rather than putting your life on wait all the time and putting your life on hold because you're waiting for everything to be perfect and lined up straight, before you do anything. And they said to me, well, of course, because you can't just jump in blindly. And I was like, who said anything about blindly? So Messy Adventures in Living is not about jumping into your life blindly. I was so grateful for that conversation because I was like, I am going to talk about that on my show on Monday. So Messy Adventures in Living is a radio show that, I created looking at my own life and looking at how much I've waited for things to be perfect and lined up straight before I've been willing to make a choice about freaking anything. The unwillingness to make a mistake, the unwillingness to look stupid, the unwillingness to be judged, the unwillingness to be wrong. Really, truly, for me, it was hugely the unwillingness to be judged as stupid or stupid. And which leads me to the word stupid, which actually, did you know that the original meaning of the word stupid is actually unaware? So Messy Adventures in Living is not about jumping in with unawareness. It's actually about making choices, the willingness to just make a choice, no matter what it looks like afterwards, even if you're judging it as a bad outcome. It's the willingness to make a choice using your awareness, not jumping in blindly. Not jumping in blindly. Nobody is talking about jumping in blindly or having blind faith. Blind faith does not work for me. I don't know about you guys. I grew up very Catholic and learned a lot about blind faith and always felt extremely heavy to me. So Messy Adventures in Living is about tapping into something else, tapping into your awareness and making choices using your awareness. And the thing is, that's not enough. It's not enough to just use your awareness and ask questions about what's going to create something greater in your life. You need to make a choice. So a lot of what I talk about on Messy Adventures in Living is using some tools from a modality that I discovered about 6 or 7 years ago called Access Consciousness. And if you would like some information, if you've never heard of this before, you can check out accessconsciousness.com. So that's what Messy Adventures in Living is in a nutshell. I'm Petrina. I am a whole bunch of different things. I play in a whole bunch of different ways. I'm a mom. I've got 3 great kids that keep me always looking at how I can create things greater in my life and in their lives and in our lives as well. They're 12 and a half and 9 and a half and 6, and they're awesome. I am a pediatric nurse. I work in Toronto at an amazing hospital called Sick Kids. I've been working as a nurse there for about 19 years. I also am an Access Consciousness bars and body process facilitator, and I love to play with the tools of Access to create, to create things in my own life, and I like to share them as well. I also create my own line of bath and body products for your skin. I started doing that about 7 years ago. It was totally fun for me. Naturallyhappybody.com if you're interested in checking that out. Okay, so what are we talking about today? Well, our topic today is called Out of Distraction and into living, out of distraction and into living. So is life keeping you distracted from living? Is it distracting you from creating the life you would really like to have? Is it distracting you from the life you know is possible? Family, jobs, mortgages, health, kids, relationships, all necessary responsibilities that come with life, right? Or are they? So are you tired of doing life? Are you tired of doing life? Would you be willing to stop putting energy into the distractions and start living? So I don't know about you, but I have been very aware lately of how much I have been distracted from creating the life I know is possible. So in this reality, we often define distraction so what is distraction for you? Let me ask you. What is distraction for you? Why are you here? What is it about this topic that piqued your interest? Where are all the places that you're using distraction to avoid the life you know is possible? So distraction, what is it really? Well, I think in this reality, we define it as, well, for me, I've defined it as being scatterbrained, not being able to focus. Specifically, not being able to focus on one thing. Being distracted by things around you. I had parent-teacher interview last week with my kids, and one of the teachers told me that one of my daughters was very distracted in class. She's 9. She's also a kid that has jumping beans in her body and has a hard time sitting in a desk. So, she can't focus. She's very distracted. And in my head, I was like, yeah, because she's really aware. So how have you defined distraction, and how is that keeping you limited from being aware of what's really happening there when you judge yourself as being distracted? So I don't know, I'm too distracted. So just looking in the playroom, oh my God. Where I work, we have a room on the hospital ward that's called the playroom for kids. And so I often call my online chat room my playroom, which is awesome because it is totally a playroom. So if you would like to join the playroom, which is actually a chat room on a2zen.fm, you can. I would love to have you here. I have some friends in here already. You can go to a2zen.fm and click on the chat room link in the upper right-hand corner and enter a name to log in with and come and play with us. So everything you've decided distraction is, and all of the wrongness you've decided that the distraction is, can we please just destroy and uncreate all of that right off the bat? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. That's the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement, that collection of words that I just said. It sounds totally weird and nonsensical, and actually it is. It is designed to bypass your logical mind and get at the energy of the thing that we're talking about. If you would like some more information, it actually has its own website. How cool is that? theclearingstatement.com. You can find some information there, but we're going to use this on our show. Just know that you don't have to know anything about it, that it works, it clears the energy underneath what we're talking about. Okay, so just looking in the chat room. Okay, distraction takes me away from a present that I don't want to be in. Okay, cool. So how much are we using distraction to take us away from a life we are not interested in? How much are we using distraction to not face our awareness that how we are currently living is not working for us? Or how much are we using distraction to close our eyes to our knowing that something greater is possible? And everywhere we're doing that, we please destroy and uncreate all that. Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. Yes, distraction can be food, your MacBook, your computer, other people's drama. Yes, absolutely. Social media, so many ways of being distracted. So I, the word nerd that I am, went to Odd Etymology Online and looked up distraction. Etymology Online is a great resource if you want to take a look at the original intent, the original the origin of certain of words. It can give you a lot of insight into how we have twisted some words and changed their meanings over the last few hundred years. So when I looked up distraction in etymology online, I actually found to draw asunder or apart, to draw asunder or apart, to turn aside, to draw in different directions. So to draw asunder, and to draw apart, to turn aside. So how much are you turning aside your awareness? How much are you drawing asunder, drawing apart, drawing yourself apart from your awareness and everything that is? Let's destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. To turn aside, to draw in a different direction. Okay, so let's look at all the things that we use to distract us from the life we know is possible. So this is the thing, right? It's not about, I think in this reality we often define distraction, like we're distracted from our goals, or we're distracted from the think, oh my goodness, my words are not coming out today. And there goes the thought. Okay, so yes. So the thing is that in this reality, we often define distraction as being distracted from your goal, right? Being distracted from that thing that you want. And what I have realized when I was just writing up the little blurb for this show, I was like asking myself, what is it exactly that I'm distracting myself from? Because I know that there's this energy of distraction has been in my life. So what exactly is it that I'm distracting myself from? And what I got was that I'm distracting myself not from the life that I want, because I like my life. I'm distracting myself from the life I know is really possible. I'm distracting myself from the phenomenal life I know is possible. It's not that I'm just distracting myself from my housework because I don't really like it. It's not that I'm just distracting myself from, paying my bills because that's annoying. It's not that I'm just distracting myself from doing my readings that I require for my new job. That's not really it. Like, that's what it looks like on the surface. But what I'm actually distracting myself from is the life that I know I can create. The phenomenal life I know I can create. The phenomenal life I know is truly possible. So everywhere you're looking at distraction on a really small scale, like everywhere you're, what's that word? Everywhere you're like you're looking at all the miniatures of distraction instead of being aware of the like ginormity of being distracted from the life you know is possible. Will you please destroy and uncreate all of that? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Everywhere you're making distraction about all little things, will you please destroy and uncreate that? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds, because that's not what it is, right? Okay, so everywhere we're distracting ourselves from the fact that we're distracting ourselves from the life we know is possible by looking at the little things that we think we're being distracted from. Will you destroy and uncreate all that? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. But it's true, right? So we've defined distraction as all these little things. I'm being distracted by Facebook, and I'm being distracted by the food in my fridge, and I'm being distracted by online shopping, but that's actually not what it is. You are being distracted from the phenomenal freaking life that you know is possible and that you know you can create. All right, so let's clear that. Everything that is, that's a lot of energy on that. Everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate all that? Everywhere you're doing that. Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Wow. Okay. So guess what? It's time for a break. So why don't we all just kind of let that simmer and take a break and, just be aware of all the places that you're using distraction to distract you. And you're listening to Messy Adventures in Living on A to Zen.fm with myself, Petrina Fava. We will be back very shortly.
Do you wait until all the traffic lights are green before you get in your car? Of course you don't. Are you waiting until you have everything perfect to begin living? Most of us have learned not to take any steps until we have all the information to make the right choice. What if the opposite is true? What if it's choice that creates awareness? Are you willing to make lots of messy choices so you can begin to see the possibilities that you didn't even think existed? Listen for Messy Adventures in Living radio show with self-declared messy living expert Petrina Fava every Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 Central, 7 Mountain, and 6 Pacific on a2zen.fm. How much more expansive would your life be if you were willing to get messy with your choices?
What if there's nothing wrong with you? What if you're far greater than you've ever given yourself credit for? What if it's time to know the gift and the contribution you are to the world and to like yourself a lot more? Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago, I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything changed for me. Asking questions opens doors to infinite possibilities. And it's not about finding the answer, it's about being the question. Always. What I'm inviting you to step into is something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Newton, Da Vinci, Gandhi, Picasso, and Aristotle all knew to be true. What if no question is too big or too small? What if anything is possible for you? What if together we could create a kinder, gentler, happier world? Is now the time? Go to beingyouclass.com and sign up for a free video series, My Gift to You. beingyouclass.com. What if you, truly being you, are the gift and change this world requires? beingyouclass.com.
You're listening to Messy Adventures in Living with Petrina Fava. To participate in today's show, please call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736. In the UK, 033-0001-0625. Or you can Skype us at a2zen.fm. You can also ask questions or comment by email by sending to Petrina at petrinafava.com. Now, here's Petrina with more Messy Adventures.
Welcome back to Messy Adventures in Living. I'm your host, Petrina Fava. Today, our radio show topic is called Out of Distraction and Into Living. So if you're just joining us, thank you for being here. Before we went to break, we were talking about how we have been defining distraction until now, and what we're taught about distraction, being distracted as children. Probably many of us, if you're listening to this show, have been accused of being easily distracted, or always distracted in school, as a kid, at work, and probably still as adults, right? So and of course made wrong for it, because being distracted can't create anything, and it's out of focus. So we were just looking at that before we went to break, and the fact that our definition of distraction is actually keeping us distracted from the phenomenal life that we know we can create. What are you really being distracted from? So just taking a peek in the chat room a little bit while we were at break, and I just wanted to touch on something that was said above. And where is it? Here it is. Okay, distraction takes me away from a present that I don't want to be in. I just kind of want to go there again. Thank you, Eleanor, for that comment in the chat room, because I feel like I am really aware of this energy in my life as well. Are you? All of the things, are you being distracted from a present that you don't want to be in? So that's interesting, because actually, Eleanor, I want to ask you a question. Are you distracted, or are you actually aware of something? So it sounds like you're very aware of something, right? So what questions can you ask when you know, or when you get the sense that you're being distracted? So I would say, first of all, I would clear all of the definitions that you have of distraction and all of the places that you've been made wrong. So a question you can ask is, what's right about being distracted that I'm not getting? What's right about being distracted that I'm not getting? Because there's a humongous, like a ton of wrongness associated with distraction, right? Has anybody ever told you, wow, that you have an amazing capacity with distraction? You're so talented at being distracted. And it sounds ridiculous, but actually, how much of being distracted is actually a capacity? Do you have a very heightened awareness of your surroundings? Can you hear objects, right? And not hear with your ears, but like, can you hear objects? I know that when I'm in my home, I'm so easily distracted by all the objects in my home. I feel like I can hear them all calling me. So, what's right about your distraction that you're not getting? And now that you have this awareness, you can ask, exactly that. Now that I have this awareness, what can I create? What can I create with my life as? What can I create with this awareness? Okay, so let's look at some of the things that we distract ourselves with. So drama was mentioned above, and I'd like to go there. How much are you distracting yourself from the phenomenal life you know is possible by paying attention to other people's drama or creating drama in your own life as well? What is drama, right? Drama is just a bunch of lies about stuff, that somebody's has hurt your feelings, or you don't have enough money, or, just crap in your life that's not even real. So I'm watching actually my 12-year-old do this right now. I'm watching my 12-year-old daughter right now using drama to distract her from being the amazing being that I know she is and that she knows she is. So she's 12 and a half, right? She's in the 7th grade. And although she's got a lot of drama going on around her. She's got some friends that are, I don't like you, and she said this, and he said this, and it's of course it may not be logical and conscious that she's saying, well, I'm going to use this drama to stop myself from being all of me. But I know that she knows that she's awesome and that she's beyond all of this drama. I know that, and I know that she knows that. And yet I see her attaching herself to this drama that's going on around her and inserting herself. And that's cool, and that's okay, and it's not wrong. It's just a choice. And who knows what that's going to create for her, right? Who does that's wrong? How much magic could this create for her in her life? What's right about all this drama that she's not getting? But it makes me, when I look at it, I wonder, what is it about being you that's so scary that we have to distract ourselves from it? What is it about having the phenomenal, amazing life we know is possible that we have to distract ourselves from it? Is it scary? So, how much are you using fear as a distraction in your life? So what if it's scary? So what if it's uncomfortable? Fear, comfort. How much are you using comfortable as a distraction? We go through life trying to make ourselves comfortable. We learn this, I guess, right? Like, we learn that anything uncomfortable is bad. As children, anytime we're a little bit uncomfortable, somebody tries to soothe us, or somebody is like, they're there, it's okay. Like, we learn very early on that anything that's a little bit uncomfortable is bad. It's labeled for us right from the beginning, from the moment we exit the womb, and probably before, right? Like, we cry as babies, and our mothers are like, oh, it's okay, don't cry, here's some milk, like, here's a blanket, go to sleep. And, it's not about words, right? It's completely energetic. So the minute you enter the world, somebody's trying to soothe you from your discomfort. So we learn right off the bat that anything uncomfortable is bad. So then now, of course, when we're expanding into something greater and it's a little bit uncomfortable, then we're like, oh, this is uncomfortable. I don't like it. I'm going to distract myself with the food in the fridge because that feels amazing, because putting food in my mouth feels awesome. And this is not about, I'm not trying to say that we should go and look for uncomfortable things and we should go and suffer. Well, maybe looking for uncomfortable things might be okay, actually. But this is not about suffering, right? This is not about oh, you shouldn't soothe the baby and you should let them suffer. That is absolutely not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that discomfort is labeled from the second we exit the womb, as wrong. And so we we start to use all kinds of things to distract us from being uncomfortable, because we think that comfortable is the thing that we need to attain, that we think that comfortable is the place we need to be. It's like the all glorious heaven, comfort. Yay, finally I'm comfortable. Why? What? Who? Everywhere you bought that shit, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Everywhere you've made comfort the goal of your life, will you destroy and uncreate all that? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Right? What is the value of being comfortable? What is the value of distracting yourself from the uncomfortable by the things that are comfortable? What is the value in that? Staying small? Staying in place? Not changing? Cool. Is that really what you would like? And everywhere that's being held in place and held in your body even, will you destroy and uncreate all that? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. Okay, just taking a peek in the chat room. What's happening? Isn't it ironic that we do that? We want to prevent the uncomfortableness, yet it is actually required, yes, and can be something totally different than uncomfortable if we have a different perspective of it, right? Because it's all about labels, right? God, we learn to label things so early because people around us label things for us. So, I mean, a great question to ask daily would be like, what are the judgments I have about this? What are the labels that I have of this? What have I labeled this as that it actually isn't? And if it didn't have a label, if no one ever labeled this for me, what would I know about this? Yeah, truly, what is the value of distracting yourself from the uncomfortable? And it takes me back to fear. So in Access, we talk. There's a kind of a body of work that are called distractor implants, and fear is one of them. And the idea is that these things that we call distractor implants distract us from knowing the truth, distract us from our knowing, distracting us from what's true for us. It's not even the truth, because there isn't one truth. Fear. How much does fear distract you from everything, from your knowing? How much does fear distract you from your knowing? Have you ever had an idea about, something like, I don't know, maybe going ziplining, right? So, when I say ziplining, I've never been ziplining. So if I say ziplining to you, what do you perceive? So there's sometimes when I perceive things like that, ziplining, I think about ziplining, and I get this second of exhilaration, and then literally a millisecond later, I get this enormous contraction in my body, like, oh my God, that would be way too scary. Wait a second. That 1 millisecond of awareness that happened before the fear, is that what's true? Is the fear distracting us from what's true? So everywhere you're using fear to distract you from creating the phenomenal life you know is possible. Not just that you desire, it's more than that you know is possible. Everywhere you're using fear to stop you, will you destroy and uncreate all that? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay, so question in the chat room. Awesome. Is distraction and avoidance the same? Okay, so, well, what do you know? What are they for you? So if you tap into the energy of distraction, and then you tap into the energy of avoidance, are they different? So, I think what I get with that actually is distraction for me is something that I've labeled as wrong that it actually isn't. And it's a little bit different than what we were talking about. So, an avoidance is the awareness, an awareness that we're sweeping under the rug. How is that for you? So, there's something different about distraction, the way I define it, and the way I've made it wrong in my life. And I think there's no answer really to that question, because what is it for you? So, for me, distraction is something that I've made wrong about myself, that I know if I didn't judge it, I could actually use it to create something. And avoidance is when I have an awareness and I am choosing to ignore it because it's uncomfortable? Or is avoidance the result of distraction? Oh, that's interesting. Okay, let's simmer with that a little bit. We're going to take a break. You're listening to Messy Adventures in Living on A2Zen.fm, and I'm your host, Petrina Fava. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back very soon.
Do you wait until all the traffic lights are green before you get in your car? Of course you don't. Are you waiting until you have everything perfect to begin living? Most of us have learned not to take any steps until we have all the information to make the right choice. What if the opposite is true? What if it's choice that creates awareness? Are you willing to make lots of messy choices so you can begin to see the possibilities that you didn't even think existed? Listen for Messy Adventures in Living radio show with self-declared messy living expert Petrina Fava every Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 Central, 7 Mountain, and 6 Pacific on A2Zen.fm. How much more expansive would your life be if you were willing to get messy with your choices?
Do you know a child who is frustrated and disruptive in class, who struggles to connect, who's bright but still not making the grade? Have you ever wished that there were a kinder, gentler way to support children with difficulties in school or at home? Many children find access bars is benefiting them greatly. A study is being conducted to document findings in an effort to assist kids everywhere with these life-changing benefits. Will you donate and help to assist kids thrive? Visit www.accessyourbrilliance.com to support our study. What else is possible for kids now more than ever?
You're listening to Messy Adventures in Living with Petrina Fava. To participate in today's show, please call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736. In the UK, 033-0001-0625. Or you can Skype us at A2Zen.fm. You can also ask questions or comment by email by sending to Petrina at petrinafava.com. Now, here's Petrina with more Messy Adventures.
Hey, welcome back to Messy Adventures in Living. Thanks for joining us. If you're just hopping on, we're talking about out of distraction and into living today. How much are you using distraction in your life to keep you from the amazing, amazing life you know is possible? So, yeah, we're talking, I looked up distraction etymology online, and we talked about how we have possibly erroneously defined distraction, or how we have a very specific point of view or a very specific label that we put on this word distraction, and wondering if all of our definitions and labels of distraction have been kind of flipped a little bit around over the last half hour. So just a couple questions in the chat room. Is distraction and avoidance the same, and or is avoidance the result of distraction? So, everywhere we're trying to label what we're doing, everywhere we're trying to label an energy, can we destroy and uncreate all that? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. So, distraction doesn't have to be just one thing. And for me, I get that there is a way that distraction can be a capacity that we're not acknowledging. And there's also a way that distraction can be this implant, this when I get this visual of fear, kind of like, I don't know if you're on Messy Adventures in Living Facebook page, or if you've seen the image for this show. It's a woman standing with a bunch of black balloons in front of her. And when I think of fear, that's kind of what I get. It's like, you are so aware of this amazing energy of going ziplining, and then all of a sudden this block comes in front of you called fear, and it's like, you're not going ziplining because you're scared. Nope, that would be way too amazing and way too much fun. But I'm not going to tell you that. I'm just going to tell you, you're scared. Ha 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 ha. So all those little buggers, all those little implants, all the little buggers that are keeping us in fear and telling us and trying to buy the lie of safety and comfort, let's send them packing back to wherever they came from. Okay? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys, and beyond. Okay. So, distraction. Okay. Let's talk about. Okay, I'll give you an example. Let me just talk about my life, because that seems to be the best way for me to explain things. So I'm going to give you a really cool example. It's been in my awareness over the last 2-3 years that I know that I can live. There's some other house, there's some other home out there for me, and that this house that I'm currently living is just not interested in having us here. I'm not interested in being here anymore. It's been, I would say, I'm going to be honest and say, a good 5 years, if not more. Okay, swirling around in my awareness, the house is giving me all kinds of signals, and I have kept myself wonderfully distracted from this over the last several years. And here's what I've used as a distraction. Okay. So here's the first one. I have 3 kids, right? 12, 9, and 6. So when I was 12, my mom bought a house and we moved, and I had to change schools in the 7th grade, and I hated it. I went from this like bubbly, social kid to like the new kid who was all of a sudden totally shy and just wanted to blend into the walls and was convinced that everyone was judging her. Okay, like complete flip with this move. Hey, that was a choice I made. I own that. Not blaming anyone at all. So this experience has been so locked into my being that I'm using it now so cutely to distract me from creating something I know is amazing, and creating something I know is possible for me and for my family. Because I am thinking, oh my God, I have to pull my kids out of school. My daughter's in grade 7. I don't want to do that to her. I'll wait 2 more years. This is my current plan. This is our current plan. I'll wait 2 more years until she's going to go to high school. So that way, she's going to probably, not be with her friends anyways. And then it's like, oh, but then, Alyssa will be in grade 5. And like, okay, really? Petrina, you're not expecting your kids will experience your same experience as you. Oh, I don't know what that means. Wow, that just went totally over my head. Can you expand on that a little bit, Disney? So, yeah, just using this as a humongous distraction. And I know that this is what I'm doing. And I've, used the clearing statement to pot and pock all that. No, of course they won't feel like I felt that. Totally, exactly. I know that that's totally a bunch of crock of shit, because everybody is different, and some kids do amazing with moves. My friend Christine McIver, who's in the chat room, he was the producer of this awesome show, has often told me stories about how much she has moved, how much she moved her kids in their lives, and how much they changed schools, and that they told her several years later that they were so grateful for that experience because it allowed them to learn how to make new friends. And I'm so grateful for that conversation, by the way, because it is always in my awareness. So yeah, like it's a bunch of bullshit. It's just a distraction. I know that it's not true. I know that they have the capacity to make new friends, and like, who says they're going to experience what I experienced? But that is one of the big, pretty little distractions that I've put in front of myself, right? What else? Money, of course. My husband would like to keep the home that we're in and rent it out. So this is like a huge beyond for me now. It's like, oh my goodness, how are we going to have a down payment? Totally using money as an excuse or a distraction. So remember, like when in the beginning of the show, when I looked up distraction on etymology online, I found to turn aside, to draw in a different direction, right? To draw your attention, to draw your awareness in a different direction. It's different than an excuse. It's like, look over here. Don't stop looking at your phenomenal life. No, stop that. Look over here. Look over here where it's comfortable. Stay small. It's okay. You don't need to have a phenomenal life. You're good. You're comfortable. Look, you have a roof over your head. Guilt. Anyone? Guilt? Hands up for guilt. Right? How much have you been using guilt to distract you from creating something phenomenal because you should be happy with what you have? I have a beautiful home that has more than enough room for all of us. I also am aware that something else is possible, something even greater is possible. Something else is possible. And I am using distractions to put things in my way to keep myself small. Very cute. Money. So guilt, money. How much are you using money as a distraction? Don't look at that amazing class that you want to take that you know that your awareness is telling you would change your life completely. Don't look there. Look over here. Look at your bank account. See, there is no money there. Distraction, right? Drawing you in a different direction. Mess. So this is coming up for me too when I think about moving to an amazing new place. Oh my God, I have so much stuff. How in the world am I going to clear all of this out? It's so overwhelming. Overwhelm. How much have you been using overwhelm as a distraction? I don't know anything about that. So everywhere you're using being overwhelmed as a distraction from the amazing life you know is possible, will you destroy and uncreate all that? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. I would never be able to do that because it's just too much. Oh my God, it's too overwhelming. Like, I can't do that. Maybe somebody else. That's for someone else. Again, distraction, right? Drawing in a different direction. How much are you drawing yourself in a different direction from yourself? All of that joy, all of that amazing life full of travel and excitement and new friends and, amazing love in your life. Oh, no, that's for those other people. Drawing yourself away from your own damn self. Everywhere you're drawing yourself away from yourself, will you destroy and uncreate all that? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. What else? What else are we using as a distraction? Food. Somebody mentioned food earlier. Food we could do a whole show on using food as a distraction. Maybe that'll be my radio show next week. What are you using food to distract you from? What are you using food to distract you from? I'm very aware of how much I've been using food to distract me from my boredom, because we think we're uncomfortable with boredom. Boredom is uncomfortable. And so, it's like, well, it would be really easy to go to the fridge and eat that delicious piece of cake because that would create excitement, at least in my mouth. If nowhere else, at least that chocolate cake would create amazing excitement in my mouth because I just can't handle this boredom. So, you're distracting yourself from your boredom because you judge that boredom is wrong or that boredom is uncomfortable. And if you didn't distract yourself from that, could you actually, if you were willing to sit with it and ask a question like, what's right about this boredom that I'm not getting, could you actually create something amazing? It's interesting how this conversation has turned to comfort. I wasn't really expecting that, but I wonder if, we're using distraction constantly to distract ourselves from everything that's even slightly uncomfortable because we've decided that the goal in life is to be comfortable. Very interesting. Oh, everywhere we're only willing to have a little excitement in our mouths. Thank you, Keisha. Yes, good, amazing. So, what are you aware of about your body? And it's like, are you shortchanging yourself by getting that quick fix of excitement in your mouth with food? When if you just sat with that discomfort for a minute and asked yourself a question, what am I aware of here? What am I aware of that? What do I truly desire? What am I aware of? What do I know is actually possible? See, if you ask yourself, if you have this awareness of boredom in your body and immediately you go to like, what's the fastest way I can fix this? And you're like, well, I have a piece of chocolate cake in my fridge. That'll fix it in 30 seconds. Yeah, settling only for a little. But if you sat and you asked a question of what am I aware of that my body actually desires? And how can I create all of that and more? Is the piece of cake going to give me that? Or is there something else that I'm unwilling to create? what could that create for you in your body? Amazing. Thank you so much for that, Keisha. That's really great. Okay, let's take a quick break. You're listening to Messy Adventures in Living. We're talking about out of distraction and into living today. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Do you wait until all the traffic lights are green before you get in your car? Of course you don't. Are you waiting until you have everything perfect to begin living? Most of us have learned not to take any steps until we have all the information to make the right choice. What if the opposite is true? What if it's choice that creates awareness? Are you willing to make lots of messy choices so you can begin to see the possibilities that you didn't even think existed? Listen for Messy Adventures in Living radio show with self-declared messy living expert Petrina Fava every Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 Central, 7 Mountain, and 6 Pacific on a2zen.fm. How much more expansive would your life be if you were willing to get messy with your choices?
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that when run assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bars session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
You're listening to Messy Adventures in Living with Petrina Fava. To participate in today's show, please call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736. In the UK, 033-0001-0625. Or you can Skype us at a2zen.fm. You can also ask questions or comment by email by sending to Petrina at petrinafava.com. Now, here's Petrina with more Messy Adventures.
Hey, welcome back to Messy Adventures in Living. I'm your host, Petrina Fava. Today's show is called Out of Distraction and Into Living. Just before we went to break, we were talking about distraction and bodies and food, and such a great conversation about the willingness to only have a little bit of excitement in your mouth and not everything in your whole body, you know. So if you would be willing to ask some questions specifically, what is it that I'm aware of here? And you know what is required before you ask that question is for you to drop judgment. Freaking judgment, man. Judgment is everywhere. It sneaks its ugly little head in everything that we do. So, you know, we are aware of a whole bunch of different things, and we label it distraction, and distraction is bad in this reality, right? We judge distraction, and then of course that's it. Your awareness just goes down the toilet because you haven't answered a question. So what's right about this distraction that I'm not getting? I suggest you might want to play with that one. And so then also in the chat room somebody just mentioned that this is how they put on weight because they only settled for a little. You only settling for a little bit of excitement in your mouth. And then you end up gaining weight. Interesting, right? Isn't that amazing? Your unwillingness to have everything is your unwillingness to have the largeness of life. Like, is your unwillingness to have everything you know is possible actually creating your body to be larger? Oh my God, cool. And everything that is, well, you just learn to create all that. Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds, is, you know, how aware, because of course, how aware is your body? And your body, you know, is listening. All the places that you're unwilling to have the largeness of you, the greatness of you, the bigness of you, everywhere you're so unwilling to be as big as you are, and everywhere your body is making itself bigger because you're unwilling to be bigger, will you destroy and uncreate all that? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Oh my God, so cool. I love these conversations when they don't go anywhere that I think they're going to go. So great. Talking a lot about discomfort and the unwillingness to be uncomfortable in a topic about distraction. So just very... Oh, we're 5 minutes to end. Okay, well, how did that happen? So quick. This hour goes by so fast. So just going to leave you with this, like, what are all your conclusions about distraction? And what are all your judgments about distraction? And where are you actually judging your awareness of everything around you as distraction? And where have you decided that you need to focus? And all of the lies that you bought about that, will you destroy and uncreate all that? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. I keep getting this energy of like, where is your label of distraction actually keeping you truly distracted? Because is your judgment of distraction keeping you from your awareness? Like, how much are we mixing up distraction and awareness, right? How much do you have the capacity to be aware of everything around you and all the energies around you, and how long have you labeled that as the wrongness of distraction? And if you didn't buy that bullshit lie, could you have the awareness of when something is truly in your way, like when fear is truly standing in your way and blocking you and diverting your attention to something smaller? So, please ask a question, what am I aware of here? What's right about this? What's right about this distraction that I'm not getting, to get you really out of the judgment of distraction, so that you can actually be tapped into the truth of what is actually happening? Is this awareness or is this distraction? So many lies that we've bought about this, right? The lie of focus. The lie of focus is huge here. I hear people say this to my kids all the time, especially in school. They can't focus, they can't focus, they can't focus. Yeah, because they're aware of everything. And who says focus is what's going to create? Who says order is going to create? If we would be willing to be to not unfocused, but if we would be willing to, what is that word? When you like blur your eyes instead of focusing on one thing. If we would be willing to soften our focus, soften it into our awareness, like allow our focus and our awareness to blend. Can you have both of those things, so that you will be willing to have your awareness and then use this tool of asking a question? What's required? What is the next thing that is required for me to choose that's going to create something greater? Then could you actually come away from the wrongness of distraction and use the capacity that you have to be aware of all things? Awesome. What are some other lies that we distract ourselves, that we use to distract ourselves from our greatness? Our bodies, the fact that we're old, the fact that we have no education, the fact that we can't get a certain job. These are all lies. Like, how much of what's keeping you distracted from the phenomenal life is possible are just lies that you've bought? And who's telling you these lies? Who has been telling you these lies? And do you have, a little inner critic telling you lies to keep you distracted? Remember, we talked about distraction as to draw you in a different direction. So, all the voices in your head that are trying to steer you away from you, that are trying to distract you away from you into a different direction, into the direction of small, into the direction of petty, all those voices, would you be willing to just tell them to shut up, and so that you can know what you know? Thank you so, so much for listening today on Messy Adventures in Living. So grateful for all of you who played with me. What's right about your distraction that you're not getting, and what can you create if you didn't make it wrong? Love you guys. Thanks for being here. I'm so excited to talk to you next week. Maybe we'll talk about bodies. Goodbye. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for playing with us on Messy Adventures in Living. Petrina Fava will return next Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. Central, 7 a.m. Mountain, and 6 a.m. Pacific on a2zen.fm. We'd love to have you join us again. Until then, have fun creating your phenomenal life, mess and all.